Hello friends, today I take up a new topic and the name of the topic is Indo-Sri Lanka relation, the future prospect. My lesson plan includes why is it in the news, geographical location of Sri Lanka, economic crisis in Sri Lanka, historical background of Indo-Sri Lanka relations, commercial ties, fishing disputes, Chinese interference and growing influence in Sri Lanka, Indian foreign policy in Indian Ocean, and conclusion. So friends, I will cover this topic under these points. If you like my channel AJIS Academy, please share and subscribe. This is a free channel and you will get numerous videos covering different topics on Indian history, geography, Constitution of India, Indian economy, general mathematics and reasoning, general science. So you need not go anywhere. So friends, now let us start the proceedings. Why is it in the news? Friends, you might have seen in the newspaper that Sri Lanka is not in the position even to pay the bill for the import of oil, and so its traffic or the transport system has completely gone into disarray. The economic activities went to a standstill because for want of petroleum products, and Sri Lanka is not in the position to import petroleum products for want of foreign reserve. So you see, this is the map, and this map will show you that this is Sri Lanka and this is South India. So you see that this one, the Gulf of Mannar and Pak state. This is the Pak state from which Sri Lanka is not more than 50 kilometers away from the Indian mainland. Or this is the Gulf of Mannar. So you see that geographically and strategically Sri Lanka is very, very close to us, and we can't be immune from the development in Sri Lanka, and it is located in the southwest portion of Bay of Bengal and in the eastern side of Arab Sea. So you see that it is an important island in Indian Ocean. Now, why is it in the news? Friends, as you know that Indian power projects replace Chinese ventures in Sri Lanka. As you know that recently Chinese have been very much dominant or influential in Sri Lankan domestic affairs. They are heavily invested in Sri Lanka. So it was the effort of Government of India to minimize the influence of China, and that's why Indian power projects replace Chinese venture in Sri Lanka. You might have seen in the Hindu newspaper. India will set up hybrid power projects in 3 islands of Jaffna, replacing the Chinese venture cleared by Colombo last year. In January 2021, Sri Lanka decided to award renewable energy projects in Nenativu Delft and Annaletivu Islands to a Chinese firm. And friends, you know that these islands are not more than 40 to 50 kilometers away from the mainland India, and so it was a strategic threat for India, and that's why India expressed its displeasure when these 3 islands of Jaffna were being earmarked for renewable source of energy plant by China. So what you see now that India replaced these 3 important ventures between China and Sri Lanka, and now India offered to include the same project with a grant rather than a loan. Friends, as you know that China made arrangement on the basis of loan, while India made pact with Sri Lanka for the renewable source of energy on 3 islands based upon grants. So you see that India and Sri Lanka have also agreed to set up Maritime Rescue Coordination Center at the cost of $6 million by way of grant. India will also help develop fisheries harbors in Point Pedro, Pesalai and Gurunagar in the northern province and Balapitia in south of Colombo. India will also support schools in southern Gale district with computer labs, thereby extending a grant for Sri Lanka's unique identity project. So you see that different treaty were signed by which the approach of India was to give grant. This means to support Sri Lanka economically, commercially, so that its economy should become viable. Now the Indian Foreign Minister also discussed with the leaders of Tamil National Alliance. This party is the representative of Tamil peoples in Sri Lanka regarding the issue of political prisoners, land utilization, land grabs by the state agencies, enforced disappearances, development of north and east provinces, and it made clear that expectation of Tamil people must be fulfilled by Sri Lanka, must be fulfilled, and it will be in the interest of Sri Lanka. So Indian foreign ministers also discussed issue regarding the fishermen conflict and power devolution. Friends, recently India signed 2 defense pacts with Sri Lanka for floating docks and surveillance aircraft on 16th March this year. Although both the treaties were kept secret, now it has become open. Although some opposition party accused Sri Lankan government of making compromise with its integrity and sovereignty, but this two defense pact of floating dock and surveillance aircraft were provided by Indian government free of charge. Again, India extended $2.4 billion to support Sri Lanka since the beginning of this year, and I will discuss later on how Sri Lanka is plunged into deep economic crisis, and so the island nation should cope up with economic distress, and that's why Indian government has provided since the beginning of this year around 2.4 billion American dollar as assistance. India also signed bilateral agreement with Sri Lanka, including the joint development of the Trincomalee oil tank farms. A good relation with Sri Lanka coincides with India's efforts to enhance Indian Ocean security, regional cooperation and intelligence sharing among the littoral states of Indian Ocean. Now I switch over to another point. That is the geographical location of Sri Lanka. I have just shown you the map of Sri Lanka, and you have seen that how the location of Sri Lanka is so much contiguous to India. So it is an island in South Asia. It lies in the Indian Ocean south west of Bay of Bengal. It is separated from the Indian subcontinent by the Gulf of Mannar and Pak Strait. It shares a maritime border with India and Maldives. Colombo is the largest city and financial center. 75% of Sri Lankans are Sinhalese, and 11.2% Sri Lankans are Tamils, 9.2% Moors, Muslims, 4.2% Indian Tamils, 70% people are Buddhist, 12% Hindus, 9.7% Muslim, 7.4% Christians. Total area of Sri Lanka is 65,610 square kilometer and having a population of 22 million. According to the estimate in 2020, its GDP is 84.532 billion American dollar. Per capita income is 3,830 American dollar. GDP PP in terms of purchasing power parity is 306 billion dollar. Per capita income is in terms of PPP 13,909 American dollar. So you see that its economy is rich if we compare with other countries of South Asia like India, Bangladesh, Pakistan, Nepal, Bhutan. So now I switch over to another point, economic crisis in Sri Lanka. I have already told you that now Sri Lanka has no money or foreign exchange reserve to import petroleum products, and for want of petroleum products, its transport and communication system have gone into disarray. People are protesting against the government. They want change of government because government has not come to the expectation of people. Government was voted into power in 2018 by way of populist slogan, and so now people are very much dissatisfied with the functioning of the present government. So friend, what you see that Sri Lanka is facing the worst economic downturn since independence in 1948, sparked by an acute lack of foreign currency. Again, diesel was no longer on sale across Sri Lanka on Thursday, thereby crippling transport. Again, since 2010, Sri Lanka witnessed a sharp rise in foreign debt, reaching 88% of the country's GDP in 2019. Now, by 2021, what is see? That the foreign debt rose to 101% of the national GDP, causing an economic crisis. Why economic crisis arose? Number one, because of the slashing of taxes. The present incumbent government came to power by giving slogan of populist measure, and that's why the government slashed taxes, thereby reducing the receipt in revenue. Now 50% budget deficit in 2022, inflation rate went to 17.5% in February 2022, reducing foreign reserve of 2.3 billion American dollar in March 2022, which is insufficient to pay the country's foreign debt obligation to the tune of 7 billion American dollar this year. So Sri Lanka will have to repay 7 billion American dollar this year by the end of the month of July. Now its foreign reserve of 2.3 billion dollar is no match. So Sri Lanka is now not in the position to even repay its debt to foreign countries or foreign institutions. Now, what was its result? Sri Lanka had to give Hambantota port to China on 99 years of lease, and it sold 80% of its stake in port of Hambantota because it failed to repay the loan taken from China for the development of Hambantota port. So a credible fiscal policy is needed whereby taxes can be raised in order to repay debt. Now, why Sri Lanka is now in such an economic mess? Number one, Sri Lanka adopted 100% organic farming, imposed a ban on import of fertilizers and pesticides in June 2021, resulted in a drop in farming output by 50% and food shortages, and it has also impacted tea industry because of pandemic corona. Its tourism industry also suffered immensely. So serious balance of payment problem is becoming difficult to import essential consumption good. Sri Lanka was dependent upon export of primary commodities like rubber, tea, garments, and also income from tourism and remittances from Sri Lankan people who are residing in foreign countries. Now, what you see that while the price of essential commodities went down since 2013, import bill constantly rose since 2013 onwards, and this resulted into an adverse balance of payment, thereby depleting foreign exchange reserve. Now, I switch over to another point, historical background of Indo-Sri Lanka relation. Friends, as you know that Buddhism was introduced into Sri Lanka by the son of the great emperor Asok in the 3rd century BC. The son Mahendra and his daughter Sanghamitra, according to the Buddhist text Mahavans. And a Buddhist tree was, a sapling of Buddhist tree was also planted at Anuradhapuram in Sri Lanka. Now 70% of the population are Buddhists. Again, during the period of Rajendra Chola, now friends, as you know that Rajendra Chola, who ascended the Chola throne in the early half of the 11th century, and the son of the great Rajraj Chola, he captured the entire Sri Lanka and made his province one of his provinces. So, for the first time, Sri Lanka became subservient to Chola power. Cholas were the greatest maritime power at that time, and they had virtually converted Bay of Bengal into a Chola lake. They had defeated Sri Vijay Empire in Java Peninsula. They also captured Malay Peninsula. They had their power extended to even the modern day Vietnam. So we see that during the period of the great Chola, because of their maritime power, they extended their influence and power towards up to Southeast Asian countries. Now Hindu Tamils are concentrated in the northern and eastern provinces of Sri Lanka. I mean Jaffna in northern part and Trincomalee in eastern part. In 1987, India intervened directly into the affairs of or the conflict between LTT and Sri Lankan government, and LTT demanded a separate alarm, separate country for Tamil people. And so many thousands and thousands of Tamils migrated to India and took shelter. So the objective or aim of LTT was to make an independent Tamil country encompassing the northern part of Sri Lanka and entire Tamil Nadu. So this objective of LTT was very much detrimental to the integrity and sovereignty of India, and that's why Indian government interfered directly into the conflict between LTT and Sri Lankan government, which was dominated by Sinhalese. So now we see that the intervention was necessary in order to stop foreign interference, foreign power interference into the domestic affairs of Sri Lanka and to end the threat to India's sovereignty and integrity. So what you see that Indian government under Rajiv Gandhi sent Indian peacekeeping force to control or to flush out LTT terrorists from the northern and eastern provinces of Sri Lanka. But Indian army failed miserably. they had to face heavy casualties. Moreover, even the Sinhalese government, I mean Sri Lankan government, became very much went against IPKF, Indian Peacekeeping Force, and they wanted withdrawal of this force. So ultimately Indian government withdrew IPKF, but in 1991 Rajiv Gandhi was assassinated by LTT terrorist in Sri Perumbudur. Now, Government of India declared LTT as a terrorist outfit in 1992. Peacekeeping force was withdrawn. Now, I switch over to another point, commercial ties. Friends, as you know that Sri Lanka and India, both countries are members of SAARC, South Asia Association of Regional Cooperation, South Asian Economic Union and BIMSTEC. Both countries signed a free trade agreement in 2000. India exports accounts for 14% of Sri Lanka's global import. Both countries signed the South Asia Free Trade Agreement. But still more commercial engagement is necessary, because what you see that Sri Lanka exports not more than 3% of its entire export to India, and Indian export constitute 14% of Sri Lankan import. So what you see, there is a lack of viable commercial engagement between India and Sri Lanka, and there is urgent requirement to enhance the commercial ties and engagement between both countries. Now another point is fishing disputes. Friends, you know that often both countries had to face fishing disputes because of the lack of clear-cut maritime boundary demarcation, and this results into intrusion of Indian fishermen into Sri Lankan waters and vice versa. So we see that lots of fishermen were killed on either side. So you see that Sri Lanka wants India to ban use of mechanized trawlers in the Pak Strait. A permanent solution of the maritime boundary dispute is yet to be arrived at. So there is urgent requirement that this fishing dispute must be solved amicably. Now I switch over to another point, and this is Chinese interference and growing influence in Sri Lanka. I have already discussed about the debt trap of China and how China took Hambantota port from Sri Lanka at 99 years of lease, and how Sri Lanka sold 80% of its stake because Sri Lanka failed to repay the loans taken from China for the development of Hambantota port. So this is the strategy of China to advance loan to poor and developing countries of Asia and Africa, and then embroil or involve them into debt trap and thereby take their lands on lease. And so this incident of taking lands on lease has become a regular feature of Chinese foreign policy. So what you see that China continued its investment in Sri Lanka. Why? Because of its policy of a string of pearls, strings of pearl in the Indian Ocean. And I will discuss later on. So you see that this is the string of pearl. By this chart I will show you that how from Myanmar, friends, as you know that China has got a strategic partnership with Myanmar. Now Myanmar is being ruled by military junta with the support of, or tacit, you can say tacit support of China. And so through this red line, you see it will go through Bay of Bengal and then it will cut across Sri Lanka, I mean Colombo, and then go to Maldives, and thereafter it will go to Gwadar port, which is being connected by CPEC, China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, which is being built by the support of China and Pakistan. And from this Gwadar airport, they want to go through Red Sea and then to Mediterranean Sea. So this is the map whereby you can see the design of Chinese foreign policy, whereby and another route is from South China Sea, and from this they will come to cross to Malacca Strait, and thereafter from this one to Sri Lanka and then to Maldives. So this is the grand design of China to encircle India. So what you see, Sri Lanka is a major country and major partner on the string of pearls, which is a part of China's strategic initiative in the Indian Ocean. Now China has been supplying military equipment to Sri Lanka and helping to modernize and expand its Sri Lankan army. Chinese nuclear submarines have paid visit a number of times from 2014 onwards, in spite of the strong displeasure shown by Indian government. Between 2004 to 2014, China provided $7 billion American dollar in loans and investment to Sri Lanka. And I have already told you that how Hambantota port was financed through Chinese money, and then on account of failure to repay the debt or loan, Sri Lanka had to surrender Hambantota port to China on 99 years lease. Now this is the Indian foreign policy in Indian Ocean. Friends, as you know that what is the foreign policy of India in Indian Ocean? This is a map that will show you that for India, Indian Ocean is a guarantee of its sovereignty and integrity. For example, if Indian Ocean becomes the center of power politics or rivalry among different great powers like China or USA or USSR, Russia or France or Britain, then our sovereignty will be at risk. So the important point of our foreign policy is to keep Indian Ocean as a zone of peace. And that's why the government of India has tried its level best to have amicable relationship with the littoral states of Indian Ocean, from Africa, like country like Tanzania, Kenya, Somalia, even Saudi Arabia, Oman, Iran, Iraq, and then to Sri Lanka, Thailand, Burma, or Myanmar, Malaysia, Sumatra, Indonesia, Singapore. All these countries are littoral states of Indian Ocean. So the policy of government of India in Indian Ocean is called Sagar, the policy of Sagar Mala, and by which it is the objective of India to settle the disputes among the littoral states of Indian Ocean and to make Indian Ocean as a zone of peace. And that's why now India has enhanced its naval capabilities in Indian Ocean in recent years. Now the Indian Ocean is linked between the North Atlantic and Asia Pacific. Indian force is stationed at Malacca Strait. This is the Malacca Strait near Singapore. So the Indian Army is stationed at Malacca Strait around Indonesia and the land between Singapore and Indonesia. Now India is dependent upon its oil imports on Indian Ocean. It is dependent upon the extraction of natural resources, seabed mining, fisheries. So Indian Ocean is a lifeline for India. Any disturbance or any power rivalries among great powers of the world will jeopardize the sovereignty of India. Now India, along with many members of the littoral state of Indian Ocean, strive to achieve sustainable use of resources. Rising presence of China in the Indian Ocean is a great threat to India's sovereignty. So now its policy is to keep the Indian Ocean zone as a zone of peace, to amicably settle the disputes in littoral states of Indian states, and to strengthen the naval power in the Indian Ocean, and to keep away the rivalry of China and the USA from Indian Ocean. And that's why India has now become the part of Quad, consisting of Japan, Australia, USA and India. Now the objective of Quad is to keep away the Chinese influence in Indo-Pacific region, and that's why this Quad organization have been made under the leadership of the USA, and the other members are India, Australia, Japan. Now friends, I come to the conclusion. What conclusion I derived from this lecture? Number one, Indo-Sri Lanka relation is very much important for the stability of Indian Ocean. It is part of a stable Sri Lanka is necessary for Indian Ocean as a zone of peace. Any interference or intrusion by the big powers like USA or China into the Sri Lanka's domestic and foreign policy will ultimately impinge upon the sovereignty and integrity of India because of the close proximity between two countries. Now to keep sustained development of Sri Lanka is in the interest of India, and that's why India has made so many treaties with Sri Lanka. Now it has granted 2.4 billion American dollar as a bailout package to Sri Lanka because of the economic crisis that Sri Lanka is facing nowadays. But there are more scope for commercial ties between India and Sri Lanka, and I have already told you that how, in spite of the free trade between Sri Lanka and India, the export or import between two countries have not achieved greater proportion. If we compare India's trade with the USA or United Arab Emirates or China or Hong Kong or Netherlands, we see that the trade with Sri Lanka is at the receiving end. So there is a need to have more economic engagement with Sri Lanka, and it is our national interest, so that Sri Lanka should not go into the influence of other powers like China or the USA. So friends, now I am winding up my lecture today. I hope that you might have enjoyed my lecture. If you like my lecture, please share and subscribe my channel AJIS Academy Indore on YouTube, and you will get numerous videos. This is a free channel. Thank you very much.